boys and girls, it's Grace. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a geology experiment. We're going to use a couple of different classification features to identify different rocks that you could find in your backyard. Today we're mostly going to be focusing on hardness. There are like 6 or 7 good ways to identify the rocks around you. Hardness, cleavage, luster, color, texture, and structure. Cleavage refers to the way the different rocks break, so like into flakes, into round nuggets, or just like the shapes they tend to take. Luster refers to whether or not it shines in the light. Color refers to, most obviously, what color it is. Texture refers to how it kind of feels in your hand up against your skin. And structure is another focus on shapes, but a little bit of a different part. The easiest one, however, is hardness. On the scale, we have our fingernails, which clock in at a 2.5 on the scale. We know that we can take something like chalk, which is a 1 on the hardness scale, and scrape it with our fingernails. We have copper pennies, which rate in at a 3.5, which, as we know, if we take our fingernails, we cannot scrape that copper penny. It's harder than our fingernails are. We have window glass, which is a specifically window glass. It's not bottle glass, you guys. And if you guys are going to be doing anything with this at home, make sure you check in with your parents. Window glass rates in at a 5.5, so it's right in at the middle of the scale. Very good for figuring out where you should be looking next to rate your rocks. And then usually the hardest thing on the scale is a steel file, which depending on what the scale is, window glass is next on the scale, rating at a 5.5. This is the one item that if you guys are going to be using it, you should check in with your parents. Glass is of course sharp, and you should be careful not to mess with your glass windows at home, because if those break, they stay broken. With a 6 coming in at a 5 to a 6.6, depending on what the steel is made out of, we have the steel file. I do not actually have one of these here, but even better than that, I have a rock, rose quartz, that rates it at a 7. So I can use that instead to get a decent estimate for where these rocks should rate on the scale. It'll be pretty interesting. Once you figure out what one of your rocks is on the hardness scale, you can always use that instead of any of these items. Now, looking at the table spread out in front of you, I've separated the rocks out into ones that I found in the backyard and moving around the neighborhood, and ones that might be a little bit harder for you guys to get your hands on wherever you might be. Alright, so there's a lot that I didn't go over today for the sake of brevity. I didn't want to hand you guys a 20-minute long video, but important things to remember is that once you know what the hardness of one rock is, using anything from a penny or your fingernails, then you can use it to identify all the other rocks that you can find just outside around you anywhere. Geology is one of my favorite sciences because you can do it wherever you are. Other than that, guys, have an excellent day.